What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the basement. It's me and Ramon together behind the round table. We're with our boy Mikey Sutton, and we are going to chime in with his artist, Noel Layon Flores. What's up, brother?
Hello.
And we have their book, Dreamwalker, right here in front of us. This is the regular cover done by Noel, and this is the Natalie Sanders variant cover done to the tune of House of Secrets.
Oh, yeah. So, very interesting coincidence there, if you want to call it that. Noel Layon Flores is the biggest Bernie Wrightson fan that I know of. He owns the original of that Swamp Thing first appearance there. Natalie Sanders had no idea that Noel is a Wrightson fan. And so when I heard that she was going to pay tribute to Swamp Thing, I'm like, no way. This is too weird.
You didn't tell her to do that? That was just her own idea?
That's her own idea.
Cool, man.
Like all the books she chooses to pay homage to.
Yeah, really.
That,
Well, Mikey, Noel, welcome to the show. Mikey, as always, thanks for coming back. And thanks for being a friend all these years, man. Salud.
We go back almost 10 years now. Pete, almost 10 years? Longer than that,
Yeah, man. Hard to believe it's come to this. Bro, you literally went from talking comics to reporting comics to, reporting movies and stuff and sending TV tidbits of information. You made a website to just throw out all sorts of geek information. And now you did pretty much you've lived the dream of every comic book fan. Yeah. You made a comic book. You sat down, you said you were going to do it, and you did it. What's that? How's it feel? Just how's it feel? You made a comic book.
It's been a long strange trip.
The top 10 sales of last week.
Man, I tell you, it's taking me a while to absorb everything. Like, I had a feeling the book would eventually do well. I thought it'd be a gradual build-up. I didn't expect it to explode like it did. That's just crazy. The fact that we got this far so quickly, not something I ever imagined. But a little backtracking here. But I just want to get to the audience watching, for those who don't know, because there's probably some new people watching here. Pete and Ramon and I go way back. When they first started broadcasting on YouTube, I was in a pretty serious depression during that time, and I was looking for something to watch. I discovered Pete's Basement like right after their first broadcast. I'm like, what is this? Just a bunch of guys talking about comic books, Immediately I was hooked. I thought they were hilarious. I love the New York accents and everything. But I love the fact that you guys were so rude. And that was like sort of all the clean, yuppie people that on Collider and shit. You guys were just flat out dropping F-bombs like there's no tomorrow, right? And you guys would like attack certain books for being terrible. No holding back. You guys were just like, this is shit.
If it was bad, we had to tell them it was bad.
Exactly.
Don't waste good money on bad comics. That was the idea.
So I found you guys on Facebook. I found Pete, and I started tagging Pete with certain of my scoops, and it were certain stories and everything, and he would run them on his show. In fact, the first scoop I ever did was Henry Cavill was cast as Superman. That was
was the first one?
That was the first one. And I had no idea who he was. We were the two nerds I'd ever watched it in my life, right? And you guys reported that. But the big one was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I messaged Pete in the middle of the night. I said, Sony and Disney are making a deal for Spider-Man. You have Spider-Man in the MCU. And Pete was like, no fucking way. He was just...
I remember that conversation.
Yep. And so he went on the air and reported it and gave me full credit and everything. And I was like, wow, I just scooped something, right? And that he being Civil War. And then after that, I added Black Panther. Black Panther will be in the film as well. And it came true. Like, that Black Panther and Spider-Man were announced to be in the film. And that started the ball rolling. Remember my early scoops, Pete, was the one where one night I messaged you and I said, Quake Chloe Benedict's Quake on
Yep.
Agents of Shield, and she's
Yes.
an Inhuman. And you're watching the show. No, he's like, holy shit, he's right. She is Quake.
It was like that day. Like they as soon as you called me, they did it that day.
Yeah. And so we go way back, man. So people ask me where did I start? Well, technically I started in 87 when I got published in the Philippines, but this new career I have started on Pete's Basement. And I will always remember you for that, Pete, because you gave me a break, man.
Hey man, we're happy to have you, and we're glad you started tagging us in memes and all sorts of comic book pictures and shit. I mean, that's what friends do.
You guys are awesome, you know. And so 2015, I said Disney and Fox were going to collaborate.
Foxville, and everybody thought we were nuts. Everybody thought we were assholes.
Yeah. And that came true, but you stuck with me the whole time. You got a lot of flack from people saying, no, it's bullshit.
Constantly. People were like, oh, it didn't happen for another 3 to 4 years. Like, yeah, because $1 billion deals really go over in a fucking week. Bunch of morons.
So
I could barely nab a fucking comic book deal for $150 in a week. You got to have discussion. And the more lawyers involved, the worse the discussions get. Oh,
yeah. Well, you know, I've dreamed.
Well,
I dreamed of writing a comic book since I was 10 years old. I would write and draw my own little comic books on notebook paper. I used to draw, but I couldn't. I stopped because I wrote better than I drew. I said, fuck this, I'll just write. I can write things I can't draw. But I've been searching for an artist forever. Noel found me. He saw my scoops and everything, and he found me because of Kate. This is how this whole strange story began.
All right, let's hear it.
So, around 2017, I scooped that Voltage 5, the 70s Japanese anime show, was going to become a live-action show in the Philippines. So I scooped that, and Noel here, I had no idea who he was. I had no idea he was lead visual designer of this adventure show in the Philippines. So he sent me a message. He goes, yeah, you know, I'm working on this show. You wanted to see the designs, but just don't show anybody. So he showed me the first Voltage 5 designs. I'm like, holy shit, should I be looking at this? I mean, you know. And so this totally blew me away. And then he told me he's really into the MCU, and I said, you know, I'm looking for an artist. I want to do comic books, and well, maybe we can work together someday. And I'm like, okay, cool, right on. We left it there, Pete. But I had this idea about a girl who can walk through people's dreams and steal objects from them. Because if you can walk through people's dreams, you're going to steal. Come on, it's human nature. You're going to take things out of there that you want, right? And so it was supposed to be a Japanese comedy, and it wasn't funny at all. I couldn't make it work. It's just like, man, it's not working. This artist is really good. He's waiting for me, and I have no material to show. And then I had a stroke.
Right.
In 2018, and when I was in the hospital, well, actually my first day there, the nurse told me, you're going to die tonight. I called her the lady of death, and she goes, should I call a priest? Because call your family, because you probably don't go to bed, because don't sleep, because you won't wake up. That's what she told me. I'm like, this really creepy lady. Like, what the fuck? You know?
Seriously.
Yeah, seriously, right? And so my blood pressure went down that night, and I slept, and I woke up. Okay, I'm alive, you know. But the problem was I couldn't move my hands. Like my left hand couldn't move at all. I couldn't move. I couldn't walk. Couldn't move my legs. And the doctor told me, I know you write for a living, but you might not be able to write anymore in your life. And so, I'm like, holy shit, you know. And so I had to relearn how to move my hands. And it's funny because I was in the hospital, like learning to use my fingers again, and I was dropping scoops with Pete. Like, hey Pete, did you know that this is like, he's dropping bombs from the hospital, which is
learning how to type again
Yeah, yeah,
and send it to
exactly.
us.
I typed with my thumb. Did you know that? I texted with my thumb. That was it. That's all I could do. Was text with my thumb. When I couldn't get behind a computer and type, I was just texting you with my thumb on my phone. And I was like, man, there go my dreams. I can't write a comic book. I can't write anything anymore. But eventually, I learned how to do those things again. I began to walk again. I lost 245 pounds. And then
You
I,
lost 245 pounds?
yeah, that's how much I lost.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
You
I
was more
was,
than a whole ass me.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. And so when I got back home, like 2 months later, like around November before Thanksgiving, I was back home. I was walking around the house exercising. My mom was watching a Filipino soap opera, right? And which I don't watch Filipino soap operas. I just not my thing. But
So
I saw this girl on there. It was Kate Valdez, and just stopped me in my tracks. I'm like, Mom, who is that? And she had no idea who it was, right? And so I just sat and I watched her, and I like, oh my god, I'm watching a Filipino soap opera. And that
for
night,
all the
I
right reasons.
for all the right reasons.
You were watching that for the same reason I watched Telemundo Weather.
No, yeah, see, I know about that too, by the way. That's the only reason why you should watch that. But
I don't speak a lick of Spanish.
I don't either. Um, so I posted her photo that night on my Facebook, and I quoted a song by the Cult, "She Sells Sanctuary." And then Noel, like, I still have the screenshot of this famous pose. He's like, "I know her," and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, I work with her.
Like, how is that possible? Like, they didn't even put two and two together, right? And so, I said, yeah, I want to interview her. He goes, okay, I'll set it up for you. I'm like, what? What the fuck? So he private messaged me. Well, here's the phone number of her handler if you want to set up an interview. And I'm like, really? I mean, okay. So I messaged her handler and goes, okay, yeah, we'll do an interview with her. And within a week, I interviewed Kate. Within a week of posting that picture and seeing her, the interview happened.
Was that like one of those funny moments when he hits himself with the mallet to make sure that this is all real?
Yeah, I know. Seriously, right? Like, am I dreaming or something? Like, I'm still convinced, Pete. I'm still convinced I died, and I'm living on another Earth right now. I'm still convinced. Because,
There's a lot of conspiracy theories that could lend credence to that. but
yeah,
I'm not gonna
exactly,
get
right?
into that. See, this is why. This is why I can't get into it. I know. Oh man, Noel, you work with her on that other series, the sci-fi series, right?
Yeah, it's a fantasy series.
Ah,
Yeah, it's like a Philippine version of Lord of the Rings. It's about four sisters, and the four sisters, one of the four sisters is supposedly her mother.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I think she was young back then. It's like she was like 16 or 17 years
Yeah,
old.
she was. Yeah, 16. Yeah, yeah. It was Encantadia, which we didn't have that channel when that show was on the air, so I never saw it.
Mhm.
And I had no idea Noel worked on that with her until he told me. He goes, yeah, I worked with her, and when she was on my show that I was designing. Um, and then I interviewed her, and I was like, man, my character had no face because I want my character to have her face, like I want
Right.
her to look like her character. But I still couldn't write a damn thing, dude. It's not working. It's not funny. I went through like 10 different drafts of that script, and I just like, fuck it, I can't write this thing. And so one night I'm talking with Kate, and we're just talking about. I had no idea Kate read comic books. Okay, how weird is that? Like, of all things, like you see this woman that inspires you, and oh yeah, by the way, I'm a comic book fan. I read comic books. I'm like, what? You know? Um, so she told me, have you seen Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix? I've never seen it. He goes, you should watch it. You might like it. So I'm watching it, and it just hit me. Why am I writing a comedy? Make it horror.
Okay.
And
Certainly more up my alley.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so that scene in the comic book with the little boy chopping up his father.
Yeah. That was Yo, it's funny. Do you want to talk about funny?
Yeah.
Now I'm reading through the book, and I just reread it again today to make sure that everything was fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
But like, it was pretty wild. Like, you're 2 pages in, and she's feeding her cat, and she's going to work, and then boom, big ass bus crash. Like, that wasn't like as gory as I was expecting.
The back shattered.
Yeah,
it was black and white. It was a nice panel there.
Yeah, we could actually show the panel right here, like, boom, right there where the bus is getting.
I love that
garbage truck.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic scene, and I was honestly expecting like carnage after that, like bodies strewn everywhere. So like, okay, that was a calm way to handle a very not so calm. It was a bus crash, not calm.
Yeah.
And then you turn a few pages. She's like, "Yeah, some really crazy stuff is happening," and boom, there's a kid bludgeoning his father with a. Honestly, Noel, fantastic job.
In the original script, Pete, that Noel never saw because I was so ashamed of it. In the original script, the cat goes into the boy's dreams and helps him with his math homework. That's what the original scene was. Okay.
Wow,
now she's chopping up his dad. So
the better spin.
Better hammer.
Writing this stuff, like, you picture it in your head though, but when Noel draws it, it's like so vivid, so visceral. And you're like, oh my god, I wrote this? This is sick. I love it.
The artwork is so good, dude.
Yeah,
like, I have to ask you, like, obviously we know Kate Valdez is the star, so you can just draw different pictures of her. But all of these people in this book are so unique. Are you using like photo reference? Like, are these people that that you're throwing in all over the book, or are you just like literally just making up people out of your head?
Well, it's mostly drawn from memory, and sometimes when I feel like, okay, I need somebody to model this character after, so it's a mix of both.
I would just love a phone call one day from like one of my more talented artist friends other than myself, and they're like, "Hey man, I want to just put you in a comic book." Like, okay, cool.
Well, sometimes I place a few names here and there, a few addresses here and there.
It's like, I don't know. Like, I look at the old man that you guys referred to, I believe, by if I butcher this, please excuse me. Tatang?
Tatang is grandfather.
Yeah. Like, I would just imagine, like, either calling my grandfather or like my Uncle Bob and be like, hey, I'm a mail you a comic book. Let me know if you recognize this dude.
Oh yeah, that dude. I know that I fashioned that character from an actor here in the Philippines.
That's cool.
Which actor was that? I didn't even know that.
His name is Pen Medina. It's one of my favorite characters, favorite actors here.
Is the M in Dreamwalker a rune?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just double checking because me and Pete like the runes, and the fact that it's in there is just
the weird.
It draws me.
There's a very creepy part in there behind the scenes. Is that the bonus story, Comfort and Joy, is actually about 2 people I knew in high school in the Philippines. Her name was Joyce, and his name was Ronald. He was madly in love with Joyce. We were all classmates, and he was afraid to tell her how he felt. We were in a Baptist school. Those uniforms. Okay, before I forgot, I gotta mention this one. Those are the uniforms my classmates wore.
Okay.
And what happened was, a couple of years ago, I did a Google search on my school. I found a photo of my classroom from the year that I was there. Like, there's a black girl in the photo who was my classmate. I know her. I may be in that picture in that original photograph, hidden behind the pillar or something. But I knew that girl. She was in the desk beside me. But anyway, that entire school in the second story is based on my school. Now, what's really creepy is that, the guy's name was Ronald. Joyce was the girl's name. He was gonna tell her how he felt on Valentine's Day. They were both poor kids, so he didn't have money for a card. So he created one with those hearts in there. That's all from real life.
Oh, wow.
He was going to tell her on Valentine's Day, but she died early that month. She collapsed in school. She had meningitis.
Oh, shit.
And so instead of telling her on Valentine's Day that he loved her, he had to bury her because the family had no money. So he had to volunteer in putting the body down in the ground and everything. And I think it's one of the most horrible, tragic things I ever heard in my life. And I remember this guy was crying, telling me what happened. He was like, "Yeah, I was watching over her body because they all left me there, and come back and then bury her." And he said he heard her voice. Maybe it was the wind or something. That's where the part where she goes, "I will always love you," is because we discovered after she died that she was secretly in love with him as well.
Huh.
But what's really creepy though, I don't have
mentally.
Yeah, I don't have their photos, dude. But Noel drew them exactly as they are in real life, and it just freaked me out when I saw him and heard. I'm like, oh my god, that's what they look like. How did you do that? It's just weird.
I was actually wondering like what was up with the backup story there.
Yeah.
I never would have thought that it was so personal.
It was that personal. Yeah, it haunted me for 3685. For 36 years, been haunting me. This whole time, I figured I gotta tell the story somehow because I just like the most tragic.
It's gonna haunt me now, and probably Ramon and everybody else. And now he finds out this story. I was fine before. Now it's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah. There's a lot of really personal things in there. The hospital sequence in the beginning, that's from my stroke. That's my memories.
I figured that
the white coats, the sound of the white coats, that's exactly how I was envisioning.
Is that what like that felt like? Like you was like in and out of consciousness and shit?
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt, yeah.
That's scary, man. That alone is fucking scary.
Yes, the way he drew that and everything just brought back, like when she's looking up at the doctors and everything. That's my point of view. That's what I saw when I was there. So, and being wheeled around in the bed and everything. That's exactly what I was going through. Pete, I got a little Drucker's commentary for you. This is going to touch you personally. I don't know how this happened. The guy who first ran my scoops is the biggest Spider-Man fan I know, and I am probably best known for Spider-Man scooping than anybody else. Like, how did this happen? Like, everything is Spider-Man related somehow. Like, let me give you an example here.
Web spinner spins the intricate
web. Exactly. Like, it's Madame Web. Does she exist really? Because who put this together, right? Because that Spider-Man scoop that made me famous. Remember, I was private for the longest time, right? I was the Shadow on Pete's Basement. I didn't put my name out there.
We did a coming out episode.
Exactly.
Identity revealed.
Yep, it was me the whole time. And so that Spider-Man scoop where Tom Holland wasn't going to leave the MCU, the only reason why I went public with that, it was Kate's birthday that day that dropped.
I remember that.
And I wanted her to see it. Make sure, like, hey, it's her birthday. Last thing you want to see is your favorite actor leaving, the property. And so I wanted to make sure she saw that. In the morning, I had no idea it made me famous or anything. But now I'm known for Spider-Man scooping. But there is a couple of Spider-Man influences in this book. The first one was when she saw that kid who was hammering his father, and she holds him and she's crying and everything. That's inspired by a Spider-Man comic book, which I'm sure Pete has read, called The Kid Who Collected Spider-Man.
I knew you were going to go there. Yep.
That's one of my favorite stories of all time. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Spider-Man visits a kid who is dying, I believe, of leukemia or something, right? He's in the hospital. And Spider-Man visits him. And because he collects everything Spider-Man. He's such a huge Spider-Man fan. And so Spider-Man visits him. And the kid asks him, who really are you? And he figures, you know what? This kid's going to take my secret to the grave. I might as well tell him who I really am. So he takes off his mask, and I'm Peter Parker. And then the last page, I'll never forget the last page. There's no dialogue.
You don't know what's up until that last page.
That last page, right? And you see a newspaper clipping. The kid died that morning after Spider-Man visited him. He died of his illness.
Mikey, do you remember when they did that book, that story in the animated series?
You know, I've never seen that. I just found out today that they adapted that.
It was dark, man. Like it was exactly the same way. It was a little girl who collected. You know, she was a big Spider-Man fan and everything. He came to visit her, and you just think it's a little girl, like in her bedroom or whatever, talking. And then when Spidey leaves, like he swings past the sign that says like "Hospital for Terminally Ill Children."
Yeah.
Like,
oh man, it's
like it just hits you. Like
it hits you, right?
Fuck me.
Like, oh, I'll never forget that panel where you see him coming out of the hospital, and he takes off his mask and he puts his hand over his face, like he's crying, and it's like everything is moody and shadowy and everything. And I'm like,
oh yeah, I remember that.
That's Spider-Man. He feels for people, right? And so I wanted to have a scene where she felt really emotional with a child. That's inspired that part in there. But Sil Abdul, my YouTube co-host, when he was reading the book, he said she reminds me of Peter Parker. Like her monologue and her narrative reminds me of. And then of course she fails in the first issue. She totally fails. Like the Waka gets the bird and flies away. She's gonna get eaten. The kid's gonna get eaten. He's dead. You know.
Right.
But she totally fails, and I'm like, were you inspired by Peter Parker? I said, yeah. She's Peter Parker. I wanted to make her an ordinary girl that everybody can relate to, who gets powers, and what does she do with the powers? And of course, Kate's favorite character is Spider-Man. Her favorite actor is Tom Holland. Everything is Spider-Man related here, including the name of the comic book company, Second Skin, which is a song by the Chameleons. And this weird thing, I was watching Pete's Basement one day on YouTube. You know how when the video ends, right? They give you recommendations that pop up or something based on your
right. Yeah.
Right. So Second Skin by the Chameleons came on. A song I've known for years, but it has a lyric video, and it talks about the beginning of the song. Talks about how he almost lost his life, and he found his second skin, and it talks about dreams and everything. I'm like, holy shit, this song is about Dreamwalker and me. Huh. And so I named the song, the company Second Skin, and the band, the Chameleons, who sang the song, they got their name from the chameleon in Spider-Man. Everything is Spider-Man related, somehow. It's weird, dude. It's weird. I can't explain it.
Wet, man. Noel, let me ask you this. Going back to what Mikey was saying about like his experience in the hospital, you know, like kind of waking up, hearing the the doctors, the robes flapping in the wind and everything. Like you illustrated that like to perfection. Did he just describe this to you and you went ahead and you just put it on paper? Or was this like also a personal experience? Or
yeah, this was also a personal experience. So I knew I knew how things happen when you are brought to the hospital. So I kind of relate to Mikey's experience in the hospital. It's something like that too. So
I don't need no details. I was just curious, because it really hits you, like the description of being in the hospital and like seeing her wake up, like seeing her fade out and then wake back up.
Yeah, it's something. I felt like that.
As one graphic artist to another, what is your medium of choice here? Do you pencil these out? Is this all on computer? Do you ink it? Take us through, like going through a page.
Well, right now, since I'm usually comfortable penciling it out, but ever since when the pandemic hit, everything's turned digital for me. For I usually multitask with multiple projects, so it's more useful now that everything's digital. But if given the situation where I can draw and using pencil and paper, I'd do that.
Nice. I was always a big pencil and paper fan, and then once I got used to a computer, it all kind of went out the window. I was a classically trained illustrator and painter, and then once the computer hit, I'm like, I don't do any of that anymore. I don't have to clean anything up. anymore if I'm doing it on the computer.
It's equally hard. It's equally hard. It's there's no difference actually.
But at least your house doesn't smell like turpentine anymore.
That's true. But I miss the smell of turpentine.
You do after a while, don't you? It's really weird. Like, man, I should be killing some brain cells doing this. Oh, that's cool. Oh man, Ramon's actually got the page open right now, and I'm really appreciative of it because again, like the story kind of calms down for a little bit. You know, she realizes that. By the way, before I get ahead of myself, Ramon and I were discussing this, how the plot of the story moves you forward. You're just like,
thank you.
There's no dragging out of, I don't know what I'm doing. What's this power? No, I just pulled a fucking hammer away from this kid who was killing his dad. Yeah. Fast forward a year, so here's where I'm at. I can like walk through dreams and shit. That is all the exposition we need.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many first issues are like nothing happens until the last page, and you got to wait another month, and it's just so frustrating. But this is like a full treat in one issue.
Yeah.
And it was like awesome. And dude, you go from like lights to darks really freaking well.
Thank you.
The previous page is just like light colors. And then it's like boom.
Yeah, they're all in like a town square and shit. Everything's happy. There's bright ass colors. And they talk about, there's like some really weird bird vampire thing. Like, okay. And you turn the page like, goo! Wait. Let's turn the page for these people. There you go. Nice. Happy shit. Everybody's in a town square and everything. There might be this right over here. It's an opposite finger. Yeah, this one. Right over here. There's like a crazy ass bird vampire thing. Like, oh man, that seems fucked up. Yeah. That's a little fucked up. There's people being eaten. There's not even one person. There's guts being ripped out. There's like people hanging from trees with a chunk out of their rib cage.
Well, let me tell you, the first time I've heard about Whack Wax was Mignola. Because he does a lot of mythologies.
Right.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that. Wow.
And you outdid him.
Thank you. That's high praise. That's high praise.
Is badass. It was drawn better than, the people that work with him.
Yeah.
And it was just like, shit. This is some creepy, awesome stuff.
The look of the monster, Noel, like when you see its face and the detail in it is completely terrifying. I will not lie to you, but this, despite all the gore up here, this panel, when he's fucking looking at you in the dark,
that's creepy as hell.
The eyes. If you've ever been camping, which obviously I'm a city boy, I don't do camping, never. But if you've ever been like upstate in the woods, and my uncle had a fucking house upstate, and there's just shit looking at you and you just see glowing eyes. Like that could be anything. It could be a cute little deer that wants to come up, or it could be a fucking bear. It could be a goddamn Wendigo. You don't even know. Well, it's horrifying.
Thank you, guys. That's awesome to hear. I'm
gonna need this broad to come into my dreams and take this thing the fuck out tonight.
I'm kind of like the anti-Brian Michael Bendis. I didn't want to decompress the story, but it's funny.
See, that's the kind of nickname that sticks, Mikey, and that's completely inadvertent. But
it's funny. I've been reading interviews with writers for 30 years, and I'm like, why am I reading? I'm not going to become a comic book writer, but I ended up becoming one using their advice. Like John Byrne said, don't waste any pages. Don't sit there and drag the plot along. Make it move. And so that's what I learned from John Byrne. Writing that, that shot of the walk they were talking about is pure Noel. That was not in the script. When I saw that, I was blown away. I'm like, holy shit! This is why I'm working with Noel. He can come up with ideas like that.
Yeah, I've worked for movies and TV series as storyboard artist. So there are 101 ways to visualize a scene or a frame. So it's a matter of choosing which frame to use or which shot should I use to make a particular impact.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more the training and also my background in as a prosthetics artist. I also used to work as a creature special effects artist. I also sculpt. I also do makeup. So in a way, when I draw a creature in paper or in the computer in a tablet, I would think of it 3-dimensional. How would this look like when I sculpt it, or how would it look like when it's done in a movie or in a TV series? So it's a mix of or a synthesis of my experience in the movies and in comics and illustration and in concept designing.
So what I'm hearing is at some point one of you guys is going to contact Sideshow and we're going to get a limited edition Wak Wak statue. That
would kick ass. That would kick ass. They know we're happy about that.
I want that sword you drew.
I can contact someone from Weta.
That sword is badass.
Well, all I have to do is tell Noel, like, ancient sword, and he'll pick one from his memory. He knows them.
Yeah, the sword is really fucking cool. As somebody who has quite the collection himself.
Just a few.
Yeah.
My favorite scene in the book, just the way that Noel drew it just blew me away, was when the bird got the kid and was flying away, and Cat is looking up from the bird, like, just like with the kid's body. I just love how he drew that. It's just like, wow, that's like out of a film, out of a movie, and that action sequence, like last 4 pages, you're just incredible the way he drew them.
It's a really cool scene where in the second panel here, where the kid is like screaming for help.
Yeah.
The Wak Wak is like bringing him up, and you can just see it from that worm's eye view of the kid. Like, that's great.
That's how I wrote it. Worm's eye view. Exactly what he said in the script. And
I did take comic book class. I know all of it. Worm's eye. I got a 3 fucking point perspective that I really like. I cried doing 3-point perspective. I hate every moment of it. I still don't quite understand. I don't wrap my head around it. 2 point fine, 1 point break, 3 point what? Where am I standing that this is relevant? Oh, I guess everywhere.
It kind of comes from watching sports, right? When a player is about to catch the ball, all of a sudden he drops it or something. That's what that scene reminded me of. Like, she almost got it. You almost got the kid.
You know what? The scene that rang true with me was, and I felt it. Like, I felt I had the same fuck moment when she's got the chainsaw and she's buzzing him, and the guy wakes up and the chainsaw disappears. Like, fuck! I thought she was gonna win.
Yeah,
that's a total Peter Parker moment when his webbing runs out. That's a total Peter Parker scene again. All those Spider-Mans, reading Spider-Man for 44 years inspired a lot of those scenes in there, and so. All credit to Stan Lee and Roger Stern and all the different Spider-Man writers over the years. It's funny how those influences make their way into your brain. You don't realize it, right?
So, Mikey, I fancy myself kind of a crazy writer in his own right. So I'm going to throw this out to you. I won't call it a scoop, but I'm just going to throw an idea out to you, and I would like to see you write it, and I'd like to see Noel make this shit happen in a future issue. At some point, when Kat gets like a hold of her powers, and when she really kind of gets used to them, I want to see her start drugging people with like sleeping pills and get that mushroom and sleeping pills, so they're just dreaming about the most psychedelic shit, and that she can take with them on like her journey. Because if they're on mushrooms, they're gonna be tripping balls, and they're gonna be just, I don't know, there's gonna be a sword with like a Ramon head on top, something like that. And they'll be asleep for a long time, so she'll have the weapons for a while. There you go. Just you guys run with that. Well,
actually, you know what? You're on the right track, because issue 3 is my Frank Brenner Doctor Strange psychedelic issue. Where Thibaut, who's modeled after Timbo from Lords of the Lombok, he is an evil sorcerer type. Who got kicked out of his clan for being addicted to opium. So issue 3, Kat goes into the dreams of a drug abuser.
All right.
It goes all crazy shit, right? And
All right. Well, I'll be sure to let you know how accurate that is.
so it's gonna be fucking nuts.
When can we expect issue 2?
Yeah.
Issue 2 is in April. Yeah, you guys are in that one.
Dude, I can't wait. Noel, Mikey showed me my picture. That's so fucking awesome, dude. It looks so good. It looks just fucking like me. It's so good.
I saw that photo of you, Pete, and I'm like, that's exactly the personality that I want to get across in the story.
Dude, you even got the pinky up. You got the pinky, dude. So good. And I told Mike, like, as soon as I seen it, I don't want to be a dick, but I got to be a dick a little bit. And I said, like, I don't drink beer, man. I'm a whiskey guy. No pinky, folks. Pinky's up. And Mikey was like, well, I had him do the famous, the most popular beer in the Philippines. I was like,
yeah,
I'm with that then. I'm with it. I will. If somebody hands me one of them beers, if you guys can get me one, I will gladly drink that for the review of issue 2. I don't know how we're gonna pull that off because technically it's illegal to mail alcohol through the mail, but we'll figure it out. We'll fucking figure it out.
I remember when I was in the Philippines. I lived in Angeles City, just right outside the base. So can you imagine all the sleazy bars I went to in the 80s? Before AIDS, before any of us knew what AIDS was back then. No, it was all out, like, disgusting. I mean, I have many stories to tell that I saw there.
We're gonna save that for another podcast, Mike. That's a whole other podcast.
World. But I want to
hear that story, though.
I said Pete's basement should be a bar. It sounds like a bar, like a rundown dive where all the bad people hang out. And I'm like, you know what? You're a bar now. You own a bar now, Pete. So, and Ramon's your bouncer.
That's pretty much what would happen if I owned a bar.
Yeah, right. And so it's where all the vampires hang out, and Pete's also a pimp. So
I appreciate the vote of confidence.
I've written your parts already in issue 2. I'm more than halfway done with issue 2, and it's funny as you're writing, you think of ideas. I think of Noel, like, what would Noel like draw? Like, okay, no, I gotta pick this up here. Like, you're always thinking of taking it to the next level, right? And so, I'm running this church scene, which is always changing. All of a sudden, it becomes like, yeah, there's 3 girls hanging from the ceiling. Like, okay, yeah, that sounds epic.
Because that's what you do.
Yeah, that's what you do, right? And like I said, you take from real life. Like, I hadn't even told Noel this. One of the dead schoolgirls, I showed you the picture, Pete, of the dead schoolgirl, the one with the twisted arms and everything.
It was artwork, folks, just so you know. He's not actually showing me pictures of dead schoolgirls before the fucking internet goes insane.
There you go.
It's Noel's artwork.
So,
before this whole episode gets canceled.
One of the side effects, if you will, of my post-stroke, I have spasticity, which is like muscle spasms, like really bad. Your arms and legs, they really hurt. They kind of pulsating pain, and they make when you're walking, you kind of twist and everything. That inspired that girl with the twisted limbs. And it's weird how real life like invades your creative space that way, but this is how it is.
Real life is just our inspiration. It's like what happens to us is what we're gonna make either happen to the characters or take from that and have the characters maybe even work through shit in ways that we couldn't. So maybe we live vicariously through the characters.
Well, the girl hanging herself on the cover was based on a Facebook Live that happened a few years ago, where this little girl hung herself on Facebook Live.
Oh shit!
There's been a few suicides like
that.
Yeah. She hanged herself, and somebody put it on YouTube, and the parents made sure YouTube didn't take it down as a lesson to all of them. I think it's probably still there.
Oh wow!
She hanged herself. It's very dark at the end that you see her shadow of her body hanging from a tree.
Sure.
Then you see her mom like calling out her name, and then the video ends there. It's the creepiest video I've ever seen. Somebody sent it to me without telling me what it was. I'm like, oh, what am I watching here? And I'm like, holy shit, she hung herself.
That's
Then
crazy.
And then her body was still, the camera was still rolling. She couldn't turn off the camera, right? So just, all you hear is a wind blowing. Then the mom like calling out her name. Their mom screams, and the video ends.
Wow, that's almost a trifle melodramatic, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's the last. Like I can't. Like I had to cleanse myself of seeing that. So I
gotta say, like I've had friends send me shit that I didn't know what it was, but 99 times out of 100, I got rickrolled.
Yeah, I wish I got rickrolled for that one, but hey,
Yeah, really.
A lot of Dreamwalker is based on stuff I heard. The Walk was one of the myths I heard in childhood about a bird that would take kids away.
I'm almost certain I fought a Walk in a Final Fantasy at some point.
You probably did. You never know.
I really think I did. I gotta look back now in some role playing game because I felt like I knew the creature. Like in some way, like I heard of this thing, and again, Noel, just an absolutely horrifying depiction of it.
Yeah.
The blood and gore notwithstanding, just the look of the monster itself, and like the way you really got like the glow of the eyes and like the night. That was so spot on to any kind of creature really that run around in the woods at night.
And I love the fact that it takes place in the provinces where it's like, this flora and stuff, not in the city.
That was really cool. Like how it, I didn't know that it was going to be taking place in the Philippines. I thought it was going to be taking place, where you live now, Mikey. And I'm not going to have that out on the show. But like when the dialogue in the book was talking about that, I'm like, oh, okay, this is like a homegrown story. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to put a twist on all the Philippine myths I learned as a kid. One of the ones, I haven't written a story yet, but there is, when I was a kid, I was told that at 5 o'clock in the evening, you should be in the house. You should not be out there playing. Be in the house. Apparently, there are these little midgets. That's how we call them. I'm sorry, it's not politically correct anymore, but we call them these midgets that would kidnap you. If you're a kid, you're out there alone, they would kidnap you and drag you to hell. Okay, so
that is exactly Adam's nightmare. Yes.
Really?
No, Adam. Adam was.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But this big doofy son of a bitch has a legitimate fear of little people. It's
really?
It's a thing. So as such, anytime I come across a meme of that, I just send it right to him. Yeah, that's what we do.
It's hilarious. Well, he'll love this issue then.
I'm going to buy him an extra one.
What did Kate think of this issue?
Yeah.
What is it?
What did Kate think of the issue?
I'm mailing it to her on Monday. Oh man, she can't wait to see it. She's been following this for like years now, ever since the first cover that Noel drew, the first piece of art that he did. I said, I promised her, I said, I'm going to do a comic book on you. And I kept my promise.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Now, dude, I have to ask, this book literally sold out in a couple hours.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
You texted us to let us know that, hey, it's up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great. I was out for like 3 or 4 hours at the time, and I don't like to shop on my phone.
Yeah.
I prefer to be on the computer, especially like every time on the phone, I got to log into a damn site. I got to type in my credit card information and shit.
Yeah.
On the computer, it's all saved. I bang, done. And you kept giving us updates like, oh man, there's like only 100 left of this. There's only 200 left of the regular issue. I'm like, I gotta get the fuck home. And I missed the Noel Virgin cover, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I missed the Natalie Sanders trade dress cover. So I got what I could. I got a few copies of this to send to my friend and one giveaway. And I wound up getting just the Virgin cover. I'm like, fuck it, $70 well spent. I don't care. But like, and it's an awesome cover, and I love Natalie Sanders' work. Noel's art looks like Kate jumped on the page.
Oh god, it looks like totally like Kate. Especially in the nightmare sequence when you get the facial close up, that's Kate. There's no other way around it.
Like I know it's Kate, yes, but like I'm looking at every panel and I'm like, no, that's Kate. Like there's no about it. And it's not like No, I'm sorry to speak about you in third person, but like it's not like he just took a picture of her and photoshopped it into a panel. Like that is redrawn, but that's fucking Kate Valdez. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And the mark of a good artist, and again, no, I'm sorry, I'm speaking about you in third person. The mark of a good artist is when you can do a likeness of somebody at like every imaginable angle. Like she's turned around, she's in a profile, she's in a 3/4 view.
Yeah.
I don't know how many pictures of Kate are running around the internet. It's probably hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, to be able to depict the same woman from all of these different angles, and the fact that it's a famous person is a test. Like it's a real person, and she didn't pose for all of these pictures. You just drew them from these angles. I love when good art matches a good story, and this art is great.
But if you notice the pages as you go forward, you'd be seeing changes in the artwork. Sometimes it's painterly, sometimes it's inked, sometimes it's like full on cartoon.
Yes, I did notice that.
It's more my interpretation on how she jumps from one dream to another, or the dream texture changes. So it's going to be a lot of that. We would be featuring plenty of art changes once in a while. So just so to have that feel of change of environment or a change of realm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like entering different multiverses.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's entering different dreams. It really does convey that, because some people be having happy, fun, happy-go-lucky dreams, and some people are having really twisted dreams.
Oh, he's inspired me. He makes me write better. I write things I would have never written before if Noel wasn't around, because I know he'll pull it off.
Bro, you don't even know. Like, Mikey has been sending us various pages whenever he's like, for your eyes only. We're like, all right. No,
just spoiler.
Anybody. But then I'm like, yo, Mikey, can I put this on the episode? He's like, yeah, sure. Okay. And it's only been like maybe 2 or 3 pages that he sent us that we couldn't put up. And I'm like, no, that's fine. But yeah, like he's been blowing up your spot as far as like how awesome the artwork was going to be for months now. Months. And true to form. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Pulls you right into the story. I like good art. What? How often does that not happen, especially in like modern books? Where just like you'll look at a cover and be like, oh, that's dope, and you'll open it up and like that's not so dope no more.
Yeah, no. Most of the time.
Yeah. Especially like, just modern books. This is why everybody out there in Pete's Basement Land knows this is why I focus so much more on indie books lately. Because there's more, just listening to these two gentlemen speak, you know that there is so much more heart and soul poured into a book.
Passion,
love. This is their book. This is what they want to put out into the world, and they fucking busted their ass to do it and to bring it to people. And not only did they bust their ass to do it, they didn't even put a Kickstarter out there for you to pay for it. They did it and just let you buy it for cover price. And that's why that shit sold out in 2 hours. I'm done raving now. You guys go.
Yeah. Basically, we're making the comics as if we're doing a streaming series where everybody has to. Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to the next issue and every issue after that. And the fact that like you've already got it scheduled for April is great. Mikey said, "Hey, it'll be out in late February," and it was out in late February. That you're already one step up from most indie publishers. Let's face it, because hell, you're one step up from a lot of the mainstream publishers who are late on mad shit
on big events, and they still late by months.
Not only late, but also like the whole story. You're like, oh, it's going to be 7. It's going to be 9 to 10 to 11 issues. It's going to be 11 issues. And like you're stuck with that one book just like hanging out, like put the other one in the back.
It's some fans that love this shit, do this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really what it comes down to. Gentlemen, I can't give you enough praise on this book. I have to ask though, like for the people who are going to be watching the Basement Show, watching this episode, listening to this, and be damn curious about what's up with Dreamwalker, is Second Skin Comics going to be making a second edition, a second print of Dreamwalker #1?
Ooh.
I think you need one, boys. I think it's time to think about a second print of this because it looks like people want it. It looks
there will be a second print.
Good.
And there will be new stuff in the second print.
Ooh, we're talking like a director's cut now?
Nice.
Something like that. But
Okay. I'm intrigued by this. I was going to buy the second print anyway to have, but you know,
we're going to do something new. I think it has not been done in the comic industry yet, so we're experimenting on the second print and also with issue 2.
Okay. How soon can we expect the second print to hit secondskin.com?
The second printing we're planning for March. So
Awesome.
yeah, I mean it's moving so quickly. So it was very important that we come out Valentine's Day because there's a story that takes place on Valentine's Day as well.
Right.
So,
The backup story. Again,
and-
had no idea that was so personal. That hits way different now.
Well, it's all meta Mikey Sutton here. My first published work in the U.S. was a review of Neil Gaiman writing Hellblazer, which was a Valentine's Day story. And I figured my first comic book being published should be published on Valentine's Day as a meta type of thank you to Neil Gaiman, who is also writing about a dream character. So it's all connected, Pete.
Well, that really is like you really thought about how to intertwine and connect all of that stuff.
I know. It's just after my stroke, like I'm using a different part of my brain. Like I couldn't plot before my stroke. I was very analytical. I could not plot. After my stroke, I'm all about plot and story now. It's
Right.
I'm using a different side of my brain. It's weird how that happens. And I thought of like, okay, because originally we wanted the book out by December, but it got late. I had to make a deal with my partners first. They went out to Seattle and made a deal to get this book out the door. We got that done. I'm like, Valentine's Day. It should come out Valentine's Day. And I keep thinking that Neil Gaiman story, which is called Hold Me, Hellblazer number 27, which I reviewed in Amazing Heroes in 1990. And I called Neil Gaiman the most promising new fantasist before he became famous. I called him the next big thing. And, with a dream character, and I'm like, how weird is it my first published comic book is a dream character? And you know what? I'll make it come out Valentine's Day. And I thought of Ronald and Joyce, like I finally get to tell that damn story, and just everything just fits together. It's just weird, Pete, how all this kind of happened. I mean, if you made a film out of this, no one would believe it. Like, I mean, the story behind the scenes of how this happened, like me in a stroke, me meeting Noel, me meeting Kate, me meeting you, Pete, out of nowhere, and just like how did all these strings come together like this? Is you think of like Destiny and things like that, and
Mikey, like you said, if you put it in a TV show,
yeah,
nobody would believe it. But it occurs to me that if you put it in a comic book, I think people might believe it.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm just imagining like kind of a Dark Tower Stephen King-esque thing where Cat kind of comes into the real world and meets you and us and Ramon and Noel and even Kate Valdez. Like we just get everybody in this and like let's make it a whole ass comic book. Like that's the whole series.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's really wild, Pete. The fact that her network, GMA Network, supported this book from the get-go. Like they ran their first article on. I found it in my Facebook memory. 2019, Mikey Sutton's running a Kate Valdez horror comic book. Like, wow, they didn't even know who I was, and they're already like doing a story on me. And they published Noel's first illustration of it back then. And people asked him about the marketing of this book. He goes, You didn't tell anybody what the book was about until it came out. No one knew. No one. It's like I was afraid somebody would steal our idea. You know what I mean? Like, hey, a girl who can walk their dreams. Oh,
Yeah.
I'll take that idea. Like, you're not.
Everything guarded, man, and fucking copyright everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't have to really copyright it now because it's out there, and that counts as a copyright. But I trust you copyrighted everything.
Oh yeah, everything is secure.
Good man. Listen, you gotta fight all the legal battles.
Oh yeah.
Because lawyers suck.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a lawyer and you're watching Pete's Basement, thank you, but you suck.
So I had, if you look in the thank you page, I thanked a band called the Candy Skins, and people are wondering, what the hell, Candy Skins? Who are they?
You thanked a lot of people, bro.
I thank a lot of
You
people.
even thanked Stan Lee and Tom Holland.
Well, yeah, for very good reasons. For very good reasons.
For reasons that I did not understand until you told all of those Spider-Man stories, those Spider-Man relevant stories.
Yep. Stan Lee, man. So this band called the Candy Skins, in 1991, they had a song called Submarine Song. And there's one line in the song that I never forgot. And the line is, and I walked through your dreams. For 33 years, that line stuck with me. I walked through your dream. Like, what the hell kind of power would that be for a person? To be able to walk through people. That's where Dreamwalker came from. Was that one line in the song. I was like, imagine myself walking through somebody's dreams. And that stuck with me. I was like 23 years old, dude. I'm 53 now. When I heard that line. And I wanted to thank them for, hey, thank you for writing that song. I wish nobody knows, but that gave me the idea. You just don't know where ideas come from. So it's wild.
Huh.
And you guys have been on this ride with me this whole time. It just gets wilder and wilder.
Good man, we're on the bus with you. We're right there with you. Nope. And I use that term completely unapologetically, like innuendo in whatever, not innuendo, but like because she was on the bus in the beginning of the book. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Well, yeah, it's funny because she was riding in the car.
Whiskey.
What? You missed me.
Well, in the original script, she was riding in the car and she got in a car crash, and then I was like, let's make it a bus.
The bus works better because it's
works
like,
much better.
Holy shit, I'm the only one who survived.
That was Noel's idea. And opened up a whole new door of creativity. I'm like, holy shit, that's brilliant, you know. And that's when you work with an artist like Noel, who's also a writer himself. When he told me she's the only survivor, and I'm like, okay, that changes the whole game right there. Okay, now it's going to get epic now. It's going to get really epic. And he said that bus crashes happen regularly in the provinces, and I was like, okay, we'll make it that way. It inspired me. Like it actually made me, like, in my head, I have all like 3 story arcs in my head because of that one change.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know exactly where she's gonna go. That dream sequence with her on the horse, that's gonna get wilder and wilder as it goes. You'll find out what all that means.
Mm-hmm.
It leads her real origins, her roots of what being a dreamwalker is. It really goes all the way back to that. And that's not just a random dream. Everything there is for a reason.
Gotta tell you, it was really fun to see the pages that you sent us all those months ago.
That's right.
Showing up in the book, like, oh, hey, I saw that one already.
Yeah, in context, right? You saw trailers, man. Yeah, I leaked your trailers before.
Yeah, man.
It's like, how are you gonna see them? You know.
What else do you have coming from Second Skin Comics?
Well, it's a great question. Noel and I have been like planning like crazy lately. We have an anthology book that we're planning called Second Skin. It's kind of like, I'm not sure if you remember, there was a anthology from DC called Time Warp back in the 70s, 80s. But really, we're going after a heavy metal type of vibe with this. Different genres. We're going to have westerns. We're going to have, comedy stuff. Noel and his wife will be putting stuff together as well. His wife is just as talented as he is, so she's a writer. And so we're gonna go crazy, dude. I mean,
I got a question for you, Mikey. On the subject of publishing itself,
Yeah.
The paper quality on this book was really fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
From what I'm used to, some indie books, kind of putting out there. It was very, very good paper quality.
Thank you.
And as I stated earlier, you did this without a Kickstarter. So this was basically like out of your own dime. How difficult was this, like, to get it all published from, obviously you wrote the story.
Yeah.
Noel found you. You worked together. You had everything bundled together.
Yeah.
Here's the story. Here's the book. How the frig did you get it printed?
Well, my partners who flew up here to meet with me, they enabled all of that to happen. And it's a very expensive book. It's not a cheap book, as you can tell. Wait till Noel gets his copy, he can see it in his hand. This is not an indie-looking book.
No, it's not. Not at all.
And what really struck me when I saw the pages in my hand, the comic book in my hand with the colors just jumped out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, holy shit, they really captured his illustrations in here. And I had a feeling when people saw the book, they'll buy it. You know what I mean?
Dude, when I first took the book out of the plastic and I first felt the cover and I was like, yo.
Yes, and wait till the sucker.
Yeah. Like, tell me this did not. You remember the old, like, back in the 90s when they had, like, the chromium kind of covers and it had that almost like a metal lenticular kind of feel?
Yeah.
That's what that shit felt like. The cover alone was just, like, such a high quality. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Whack.
That'll be awesome.
Awesome and terrifying.
The feathers are all shiny.
See, but not. I'm imagining toys now. Walk toys and stuff. I'm imagining that.
Yeah, you got to do toys. Honestly, I'll put you in touch with JD. Like, he's been making Unstoppable Comics toys.
Really?
Yeah,
dude, we gotta do that. We gotta do that.
They're coming, and I'm sure he could put you in touch with the right people.
Oh, that would kick ass. Oh my god, that'd be awesome.
Oh man, could you imagine having a Kate Valdez toy on a Kate Valdez fucking card back drawn by Noel that's signed by him and Kate? I'm already imagining that. I want that right behind me, right there in the collector's section. Yeah.
We gotta have a Pete's Basement toy though, the bar and everything. And
obviously, we need toys of us. That goes without saying. I need an action figure of me. Ramon needs an action figure of him. Can you imagine that? Like, what are you doing? I'm playing with myself. Leave me alone.
What really shocked me was the amount of non-Filipinos who bought the book, because it's a very Filipino-centric book. But
you're a household name now. Like Geekosity, the website, which we haven't even talked about. The website is all over the place. Like, the traffic that you get to this website is astounding.
Well, I was telling one of my advisors, I said, I'm really shocked at how well this book sold. People don't even know who Kate Valdez is, but they bought the book. I thought she was a selling point originally. And she, in the Philippines, oh my God, the book sold before I even got there. Because, it's Kate Valdez. But I said, I'm shocked at how quickly it sold. He goes, your site gets 4 million views a month. Why are you shocked?
That's exactly, yeah. And in fact, that's half the reason I'm like, when is the second print coming? Because I can only imagine that there's mad people in the Philippines who either didn't know about it, or when they found out about it, it was already too late. So they got to get their friends are not going to loan them the book because they can't be trusted. So they got to get their own shit.
A good friend of mine messaged me yesterday, goes, I want to review and read your book, but I'm afraid to open it. It's so pretty, and I only have one copy.
That was foolish of them. I ordered 4.
Well, it sold out before he could order more. I said,
well, I'm a dick. I'm going to hoard those. I'm sorry, bro. I was going to do a giveaway, and then I'm like, yo, they all sold out in minutes. I might just hold on to these, because what if they're worth a pretty penny, and I'm fucking giving them away for a song?
Yeah. I'll be back here sometime this year with some very big news. I just can't.
Bro, you can be back next month when we talk about issue 2. I'm telling
Oh,
you
that
right
too.
now.
That too. Yeah, I'm holding on to certain specific news. But if those of you who have copies, definitely hold on to them or slab them because something big is interesting is going to happen.
I can't wait. Yeah, no, and I already know about the news, so I'm not giving nothing away no more. Wait for the second print, dudes. But,
Well, see, everybody's going to buy number 2 because Pete and Ramon are in it. Come on. You know that's.
oh, they have to. Yeah, they have. I'm going to buy 10 myself and just pass them out to people. Like a bad case of scabies. So, Mikey, I have to ask, though, like,
Yeah.
speaking of giving away information,
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm going to ask you. You know. You got a Pete's Basement exclusive scoop for us or what? Like, come on. Just for old time's sake.
Fantastic Four, they're going to adapt the Galactus trilogy. So you're hearing this first. They will adapt the 3-issue series by Silver Surfer. It's probably going to start with the second film because the first film will have the Mole Man in it. But they are going to adapt the Stanley Jack Kirby classic Galactus trilogy, which everybody is. I mean, that's one of the greatest comics of all time.
True.
Oh yeah.
So,
And Galactus won't be a cloud, okay? It'll be really Galactus.
thank God. I don't care if he's in the cloud. If he's going to be in the cloud, I'm fine with it. But he's got to be in the cloud. The ship has to be in the cloud.
Of course, it has to be.
In Independence Day, when the ships was coming in, but there was the big cloud in front of it. I'm okay with that. But Galactus got to be in the cloud. And I heard that there was supposed to be some shit, like there was supposed to be another sequel to Fantastic Four, and there was more to the cloud. But I don't care about any of that. So is Galactus going to be like the next big bad of the MCU, or is it just going to be like a Fantastic
There's 2 big bads. Okay. The other is Doctor Doom. Now they're both going to be in Secret Wars, so that's what it's really leading up to. It's everything leading up to Secret Wars, but there's a twist on Doctor Doom. He'll be Emperor Doom in Secret Wars.
Okay, I like it. Well, yeah, they can't call him God Doom. I get it.
Yeah.
They try to stray away from all the religious stuff. I get that.
Yeah.
Oh man, guys, it's been great.
Thank you so much, Pete, Ramon. Thank you, Noel.
I can't thank you enough, man. This has been an absolutely fantastic show. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Noel, it's been great to meet you.
Likewise.
The
Great
book
to meet
is
you, dude.
fantastic, boys.
It is.
Thank you.
I really genuinely enjoyed it. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm looking forward to my third read of the book.
That's so cool. You know what? You guys influenced me as well because, when I'm writing a book, my inner critic is in my head. It's like, I keep remembering watching your show over and over again all these years. When you guys run into a boring comic book, you guys are relentless. Like, this fucking boring as hell. I mean, it's like watching wallpaper dry or something. You guys are just like, so no way is this book ever going to slow down.
I've gotten a few letters from people like, why didn't you like our book? Like, because it sucked. Sorry.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I have met quite a few creators that I'm happy to call friend now just because we liked their book. That they were looking for reviews and they came across us and we were doing nothing but gushing about it. Like, that was always what we prided ourselves on, was honest reviews. Don't be on bad comics. And this is a good comic that you should totally not waste money on. It's not a waste of money. The art is amazing. The story is fun. It's engaging, and it doesn't waste your fucking time.
Thank you.
You're 3 or 4 pages in, and then the next page, you're a year into the book. You're good.
I didn't want to waste any time.
It was not a fucking text box to be had in this book. Nothing was explained to me like I'm an idiot. That was the best and most refreshing part of it, and I know I have you and Noel to thank for that because you're not talking down to your readers. That's important.
Well, that's John Byrne's influence on me again. Don't talk about things that your artist can already draw.
And I mean, from what we've seen, Noel can pretty much draw fucking anything you want him to.
Oh, God, he can. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna push him to his limits in issue 6.
Good.
Oh God, I was discussing this on another private stream earlier. Issue 6 is my R-rated tribute to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe,
You were telling me
uh,
about this.
and
I'm
it's gonna go bonkers with this book. So,
make sure you give him some 3-point perspective just to fuck with him. Sorry, Noel, but
but there is an inside joke in the book that I don't think many Americans got. There's the chainsaw scene. There's a Jolly Bee on the chainsaw.
That's right.
Jolly Bee is our famous hamburger joint in the Philippines, and
Just one in
and
Europe.
and it's Colonel Sanders having the dream, which I thought hysterical.
okay. I thought I was gonna say like, yo,
That was Colonel Sanders having a dream about Jolly Bee.
I just thought like, all right, whatever. It's just like an old guy.
Because Kentucky Fried Chicken is a competitor of Jolly Bee in the Philippines. So
Okay, that's funny.
that's
That's funny.
but I just love like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm writing a script and I said, "Put a Jolly Bee on the chainsaw." I mean, like this is the greatest job in the world, right? I mean,
Dude, on the subject of that, it's the greatest job in the world. Something my old college anatomy professor had told me was, I draw pictures for a living, and people give me money for it. It's the greatest scheme ever. I hope it'll never catch on.
it's true.
And that's
It's
it, man. Noel, you're drawing pictures, and Mikey, you're writing comics.
Yeah.
You got a scheme going. Keep the shit going. Keep the momentum, boys.
Oh, it's
Cheers.
thank you so
Salud.
much, Pete, Noel.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I wish
Great.
you nothing but luck, and you can count on the support of the Pete's Basement Show going forward.
Thank you.
Forward to issue 2.
Issue 2 is a bomb.
Boys.
All right, take care, guys. Take care, Noel. I'll be in touch.
Okay.
See ya. Bye bye.
You guys know how to find us. Hit us up. Questions at Pete'sBasement.com, Facebook.com/Pete's Basement, Instagram, Twitter, etc. at Pete's Basement. You can find Mikey at Sutton Pub on Instagram. That is his Instagram. So if you're not elite enough to get the follow, don't worry about it. Don't hold it against him. You can find him on Facebook. And of course, you can get all of the news, scoops, and interesting comic book movie info right on geekositymag.com. You can find your Dreamwalker issue 1 second print and issue 2 and all of them going forward at secondskincomics.com. Noel, where can we find and follow you, sir?
Well, I'm not usually a social media
Okay.
person, but they can find me in Facebook.
Okay.
I also have a Twitter account that I don't usually visit.
One of the social medias always kind of falls by the wayside. For us, it's Twitter as well.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have Twitter.
I hate Twitter. I hate it.
I can't stand it. It's poison.
Yeah, I agree.
Instagram. I also have.
It is the
Instagram.
poison of the internet.
Yeah, it is.
All right, guys. So make sure you look up Noel Layon Flores on Facebook. His artwork is awesome. I do encourage you to make an Instagram account, man, because like just
I have one.
your artwork should be shared, man. It's that good. Share
Yeah,
it.
he has one. He has one. You can
I
find
have
it on
one. I
Instagram.
don't care much, but I have one.
And just so if you're interested in like selling a print of like my charming visage in issue 2, let me know because I got a spot on the wall right back there that's dying for it. So yeah, hit me up. We can have that conversation on the side. But yeah, man, your artwork is awesome, and I love pictures of me. I'm an egomaniac. But I love going and seeing me in a comic book. Oh, man. Boys, it's been a great show. Thank you, and have a great night, and lots of luck going forward.
Thank you, buddy. Take care. Take care.
Always.
Bye bye.
Pete's Basement is copyrighted 2022. Ripped Productions. All rights reserved, so go fuck yourself.
Got to start it the usual way, though, of course, right? But yeah, that was a good one right off the top. You didn't like it? All right, I'm gonna try again.
Maybe I'm just not used to it. It sounds kind of flat.
I'm what do you want me to tell you? Flat, like I'm on fucking key. That's something you do it.
Yeah.
See, honestly, it sounded a little high pitched. Now I hear it.